These are the exteriors of the house. Haunted house tours, Brookesville raid, the third weekend of January, Heritage Day, different things that they do. Just walking on the property some, getting a feel for everything. It's now the Hernando Heritage Museum. In loving memory of Eugene Lee. I'm assuming that's just a memorial. I don't think that it's going to be a actual grave marker, but you never know. You never know. Dedicating it as a museum. Nice old porch.
Yeah. Okay. So this was a young man when the Civil War broke out, Frank Saxon. He was all gung-ho, wanted to fight for the cause. He joined the Florida Wildcats 3rd Infantry, and he got, I wouldn't want this job, he was the flag bearer. He's the one that runs out in front. Practically with a neon sign going, shoot me, shoot me. Well, he was wounded once, but carried on. Second time he was wounded, he was hospitalized and captured. His claim to fame is that the enemy never got the flag. He hid the flag under his clothing, and the enemy never got the flag, because the enemy would either destroy the flag or they would have it to say, na 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 boo boo, we beat you. So we have a replica of the flag. We have a military room, and we have a replica of the flag here, and also we have a picture of the actual flag, which is in the Museum of the Confederacy in Richmond, Virginia. You ever get up there? So, after the Civil War, both military prisons, they just opened their doors and said, okay guys, go home. And so he walked home from Perryville, Kentucky, which is shocking, but he walked up there also. He was a foot soldier. So he comes home, and smart man starts courting the wealthy widow May. Smart man. Now, Marina already had 2 little girls. He wanted to start his family. So Marina got pregnant and had a baby boy who only lived a couple of weeks and passed, which was not uncommon in those days. Then she got pregnant right away again, and this time she had a healthy baby girl, and 2 weeks later, Marina died. So now he's got these 2 little girls and a 2-week-old baby. It didn't take him long to get married again. But I went with the May family. So this is Tallulah Hope, that's his second wife. And the house that's right over there across from the Florida Cracker restaurant, it's a big white house, it's called the Saxon Manor. That's what he built for her. She came to this house and she said, there's too much death and sadness in this house. I don't want to live here. It was 4 rooms, remember? And I think she said, well, I just want a bigger house. And he built her one. So here's a picture of Jessie May Saxon. She died between 2 and 3 years of age. We're not sure of what because of the courthouse thing. Most likely it was a childhood disease, which children died back then with childhood diseases, things that we have eradicated because of vaccines. So there are rumors that her sisters, the 2 May sisters, pushed her off a porch, the top floor. Another rumor is that they suffocated her. We don't know if that's true. Another is that she just fell off the top floor. We have no idea. But this is a death picture of her. Now she is one of the entities that's here. Yeah. The house is haunted. Do you know that? Yeah. So it's very haunted, and it's just, to me, it's just fun to be here because things happen. So, and I really groove on that. I've had experiences all of my, paranormal experiences all of my life, so it was just, woo, welcome home. Okay, do you have any questions in here? About anything? If you might go like this, if he liked the young man, and he would put it like this, all the way up as far as it could go, and he would tell her, or tell the young man, you have to leave when the candle gets down here. If he didn't like the young man, he went like this and made the candle a lot shorter. So it is called a courting candle. And when the young girl would come in, she could look at the candle. If the candle's down like that, she knows Daddy doesn't really like him. And if the candle was up higher, she goes, ooh, Daddy likes it. Right, come on in the next room. When John came here, was going to build a house, he was a very frugal man. And he wanted a fireplace in each of the 4 rooms. If you put a fireplace at that end of the house and one at this end of the house, he'd obviously have to have 2 chimneys. Well, basic taxes had any other chimneys, higher taxes. So he put the fireplaces back to back and right on top of each other. So he does have a fireplace in each room and 1 chimney. Smart, that's smart. So also, the front door was over there. That was a porch on that side, and this was a porch on this side. And he wanted to be able to get out to this porch, so he's gonna build a door here, because this was the back door of the house right there. He found out that you could have a front door and a back door, those were basic taxes. Any other doorways into your house, higher taxes. So these windows lift all the way up. It's not a doorway though, it's a window. So, now those 2 things to me are just smart. This next one, that's my phone. This next one is beneath my taxes. So he said, oh, okay, I know what I'll do. He had to go out the back door and he built a staircase outside. So in Florida where it rains like it does, you had to go outside to get up to your bedroom. I didn't like that part. And then someone on a tour said yes, and I bet if he covered the staircase or enclosed it, taxes would be higher. Yeah. So, what else in here? Now, you're from North Carolina, you're just visiting here. Yeah. Where are you? The boys and I'm upstairs, and the other lady was doing the girls down here. And we get up in the communication room, and there's an old-fashioned telephone. And it's hooked up so that from this phone, you can call this phone. So we aligned the kids up, split them, half of them were at this phone and half were at this phone. And I said, okay, now you dial the phone, and I picked up the phone and I said, you have to dial this number, it's written right down here, and then that phone will ring, and then you answer that phone. So this one boy in the back, you could tell he was just a smarty. He's looking at everything, and when it comes time for his turn, I said, now you know how to do that? And he goes, yeah, I was watching. I said, okay. So he goes up to the phone and he goes, zzz, zzz. I said, well, you forgot something. He goes, what? I said, you have to pick this up first. It was so foreign. Just see, he was so cute. Anyway, so you'll see that upstairs. This man over here, his name is James Weeks. He was a Brookesville person. He owned not the first hardware store, he bought the first hardware store and then continued to run it. It is still downtown, and if you go down Jefferson like this to the light, turn to the right, it is like the 4th store in, it's the 2-story building, and it's Weeks Hardware. Now, when I came here, Mr. Weeks was there, but he was an old man at the time, and he has since passed away. The kids don't want they don't want the store, they don't want anything to do with it. So Mrs. Weeks goes there and sits there and will just talk to you. So you could learn some history from her too. Nice lady.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. And it's fun just to go in there because it's a lot of old stuff in there. I have never gone to the man's side. I've never really looked at the tools and stuff, but she had everything for oil lamps. She had the wicks and the chimneys and all. And she also had canning, stuff for canning. So, and I know that I can buy that at Walmart, but it was not near as much fun as going to talk with Mrs. Weeks in that old hardware store and buy some stuff for my oil lamps. So, her hours are about the same as ours. I think she closes at 3.
Okay.
Yeah, her. And it predates electricity. Thomas Edison did invent it. And you wind it up to play it. When we would do ghost tours, at the very end of the ghost tour, we brought everybody back down and had them stay in this room, and we would wind that up and play. And it has 1 volume. Loud! You could hear it all through this house. And what's interesting is we would tell people, take pictures up like this, because orbs, it's like they came from all in the house. They came to hear the music, and they would come down here. Yeah, some of my answers.
Yep.
We had 5 pianos when I first got here. There was one in the entryway, that one's a player piano, and then this one, and there was another piano here, and one behind it. But yeah, so we got, I don't know, put the other piano someplace else. Hey, come on in the doctor's office. This is Dr. Stringer's office. Both, there were 2 generations of Dr. Stringer's practiced here. It was empty, but like I said, people started giving us artifacts, and so anything that pertained to a barber shop, we put over there in that corner with that chair. Got some dental things over here, including some plastic teeth, and opticians things. This is all hospital section. You know why the barber pole is red and white? Does anybody know? History teacher?
I do, it's slipping my mind.
Okay. He could do some minor surgeries.
I think people, it's like blood like far backing up and then.
They did that too. And then that was red for the blood and white for the bandages. This one, yeah. Yep. This is something that interests me. This is from when I was born. This is an incubator for a baby, a human baby, not a baby duck.
Yeah.
Okay? It is heated with a light bulb inside here, and that's a piece of metal. Each have this pattern on the top of their head or the bottom of their foot. I haven't seen any, but I'll know what it is if I see one. Yeah, they put the light bulb there, put the baby in there, put water in here, close this up, and it would keep the baby warm, and saved babies' lives. This is some stuff from a veterinarian. That's what they put the ring in bulls' noses with. And I had a cattleman here one time, and he said, well, you're not a very big lady, but he said, if you put your finger through that ring, he said, you could drop that bull right down to the ground. And I said, I don't want to get that close to a bull to be able to do that. Any questions in here? Nope. Okay.
See if I can have one of those on.
Homemade one. Move back a little bit, I'll show you. This was a rocking chair. They took the rockers off. They put these wheels on. That looks like barn wood. They did that, but look at the turning radius of this thing. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
So somebody. This is one of my favorite rooms. We started getting a bunch of military memorabilia, so we made a room to honor our military. Remember me telling you the story about Frank Saxon hiding the flag under his clothing? This is a replica of the flag. This is a picture of the actual flag in this Museum of the Confederacy in Richmond. Now don't feel bad because 999 out of 1,000 don't.
I recognize it, I just can't put my finger on it.
Okay, most people say it's the Betsy Ross flag.
It's not.
It's not. It's the flag of the Confederate States. Everybody thinks this is the flag of the Confederate States, and that is a battle flag. This is the actual flag. When all this hullabaloo started with the Civil War and erasing history and everything,
Yeah.
we used to fly this outside of the house because this house has been under both flags. So we put that on one side and the American flag on the other side. Well, when all of that happened, we had about 200 people come up from Tampa to tell us we had to take the statue down at our courthouse. It's a statue commemorating Confederate soldiers. It's not one person, it's just Confederate soldiers. And so they told us we had to take it down, but I understand there were about 300 Brooksvillians that said, no, we're not. And we built a wrought iron fence around it.
Yeah.
Chronological order, this is World War I. They go zipping around, and that man over there was in Desert Storm, actually. This is something that interests me. It's a piece of wood that's carved to look like that. It wasn't just the young boys had these. Most of the people in the back had these. And the people on the front line, because we line up over here with my friends to shoot you, lining up over there to shoot. I used to say, whose idea was that? Somebody told me it was Napoleon. Napoleon started that. But anyway. He said, now the guy said that, so the man in front of you is shot, he had a rifle. You reach down and you get his rifle and you hand your wooden one back farther, and you are now on the front line.
You just pick up your buddy's rifle and
Go,
you don't let the flag touch the ground.
Yes.
That was their thing.
Yes, yeah. And the reenactor also told me that the troops would go into an area and they would cut down trees and they would strip the bark off, and about the tree would be like this long, tall, and they would strip the bark off, paint the tree black, hollow out the one end, put 2 wheels on it, and set those around the where the troops were. And that way the scouts from the other side, they go, man, they got 6 cannons, we better keep going. And it wasn't cannons, it was trees, but they didn't know that. But we still did that I never heard anything about it in Vietnam, but I know in World War II they were painting planes on runways so the enemy would think we had more planes. And in Normandy, they actually had inflatable tanks. They made it look like a whole big area. Nobody was there. But I say, if we're that smart, why are we having a war in the first place? Clearly we're not that smart. This is a surgeon's field kit. What they used the most was the saw. They would give you a shot of whiskey if you were really, really, really lucky. You got 2 shots. And they gave you a leather belt to clamp down on, and then they just sawed your leg off or your arm or whatever. And I said I would not have done well because I took a Vicodin to get this. So I would not have done well. Nope. We did have a skirmish here in the Civil War. Bayport over here is a river that comes in. It's actually the spring from Wickiwachi goes out there. Okay, we were getting supplies in there, and the North found out about that and they blocked it. So there was a skirmish. They didn't even call it a battle, they called it a skirmish, but I think 5 people died. But anyway, here are some artifacts from that. What else? Any questions in here? Oh, I have one more. Any questions? Could tell that you had someone in the military. And I know you've heard this one. If the person was killed in the military, you got the gold star. So, and that's that one. They still do these. Glass on the right is newer. Now, kitchen. It was not a kitchen. In John May's time, that white door over there was the back door. This was the backyard. And they had the slaves, and they had cookhouses out in the back. One, they cooked with fire. You do not want to cook with fire in your house.
Yep.
And so, just think of today. Cooking in the house today with fire. Anyway, So the cookhouses were out in the back. Now, when Dr. Stringer added on the 10 rooms, this was a room he added on. Now, it was after the Civil War for Dr. Stringer, but he was wealthy and he had servants, and they cooked in the cookhouse. They called this a morning room, as in AM, and it had breakfast, lunches, and informal dinners in here, and the servants served them here. The dining room was saved for the foo-foo dinners. Yeah. So we have a collection of a lot of stuff here. Washing machines. This is our oldest washing machine. I'm not understanding that one because to me, I mean, I know how it works. You go back and forth like this. It's gears, and then there's an agitator down there that does that. But a woman's long dress or long skirt, how's that going to fit in there? Or a man's overalls?
I see you don't wash the skirt as often, so.
Yes, yes.
I guess.
So I
I
think
guess they use that for every day. And
it was gasoline powered, and then they switched it over to electric power. And the family gave us the Maytag guarantee. So I just think it'd be funny to call Maytag and have them come out here. Say my wash machine doesn't work anymore. Can you help me? I just would think, I would like to see the look on their face. That's what. Yeah. Stove. The women of Brookesville decided they wanted to have warm lunches for their kids at school, so they gave fish fries and bake sales, and they saved their money all the way up to $26. And they purchased this from the Sears catalog. It was shipped into the port of Tampa, and we all know how heavy one of these is. That's what this whole top is iron like that. So I don't know, but it took the Brooksvillian men 3 days to go down to Tampa and bring this back in their carriages. And I don't know if they split it up, had 2 carriages, I don't know, but anyway, it was heavy. And then the women took turns cooking lunches for their kids. It's called a wood burning stove, but they didn't just burn wood, they burned anything that would burn. Pine cones, pine straw, moss, corn cobs, whatever would burn got in here. I can tell you a story about that over here. It is a camp stove, early camp stove, and what it is it has these. This is, I forget what kind of stone. I knew, but I don't remember now. And this you put in the fire, and then you pick it up and you put it in here, and then you put your food in the pots, and then you close the lid down, and when you get where you're going, your food is cooked. It's like a slow cooker. Yeah. Well, I came here one day. We had to have a meeting, a docents meeting, and it was on a Saturday. So I come here, and I needed to find Linda. And so I walked in the front door, and I asked the lady, I said, "Where's Linda?" And she said, "She's back here in this room behind me." I said, "Okay, I need to talk to her." So I came around that way. I came along here. I came like this, and I got right about here, and she was right behind me. And this thing lifted up about this high, and then dropped down. I said, "I didn't touch it." She goes, "I know." So we both went like this for a while, going, "Ooh." Since I've told that story, I understand it happened to a man one time when he walked by. It just lifted up and dropped down. Okay, I'm going to walk you back.
She sent you up the front way?
Yes, ma'am.
How come? Oh, okay, well, come on back this way. I thought I heard somebody walking. I'm waiting for you to come up the stairs. I'm okay, maybe the spirits are active. When Dr. Stringer added on all these rooms, this was a schoolroom. And we assume that he used it, or somebody did, for his children and probably neighboring children, because the actual schoolhouse is quite a ways from here. And if you gotta walk it, or if you're on horseback, it's a while. This bed is 150 years old. It is mahogany veneer. It's called a rolling pin bed. I don't understand that either, but because of the headboard. Do you see a rolling pin? No, I don't. I see
No.
2 acorns. And then this little gem over here is pretty interesting. Isn't that the most loveliest thing you've ever seen? What do you think it is and who wore it?
Combinations?
It's their underwear.
Yeah, set of combinations.
That's what they wore. It's the only thing they wore.
The split seam.
Yep.
Because that's how you manage to go back.
Yeah, kind of strange looking. And
Cause
then,
the ladies wore slips.
That's it before that next project, not the next project, but the one after that.
It's like, whoa.
I've got to make one of those, so.
and then her beautiful bathing suit. This is called a walking spinning wheel. Of course, not that it walks, she did. She worked at this end, she had to walk to that end, and just back and forth and back and forth. So it got nicknamed the walking spinning wheel. This is what wound her yarn after she spun it. It's called a weasel. And there's a little gadget back here that when it got full, it popped. You got it, didn't you? Pop goes the weasel. And this is her handiwork. Well, not necessarily the lady here, but that's what they did, either crocheting, tatting, quilting, knitting, sewing in her spare time. Yeah, which she didn't have. It's a pair of shoes from a lady back then, and it's amazing how tiny her feet were. Not so much in length, but in width. This, we think, is a wedding dress, or what went over another dress and was for weddings. Back then, the men and the women were tiny. Goes around, comes around. It's the crimper. And then this, I bet you have no idea what this is.
My only guess is a hair
Giant tweezers.
A giant what?
It's a giant tweezers.
I'm thinking hair clip.
Yeah, that too.
Marcia Clark probably would have loved to have had it. Now you know who Marcia Clark is. Probably not. Go back to the O.J. Simpson trial.
Okay.
Okay. This stretches the gloves. She would have loved to have had it because then the glove would have fit. And again, that is very small. And they didn't live maybe until in their 40s, if that. Lifespan was even very short. And I think it's because they cannot find a public phone now. And as a child, you never walked past one without checking the coin return. Because the odds are you would find some money. And these are the phones from way back when up until the rotary. We need to add a cell phone up there to bring it up to date. These playing cards are for the blind. They actually have braille in the corners, so that the blind can actually play cards. Post office boxes are very pretty, much prettier than what we have now. But again, we have a key now, so it makes it simpler. There you had to remember the combination. And what is right here is the teletype. It's like our email. You typed out what you wanted to send. It printed it out like in braille in holes on the paper. And then you sent it, and wherever you sent it to, they had a receiver, and it printed it out there. And then we have the place on the same chimney. Do you have any idea what this little barrel shape? You're close. You're gonna really think it's funny when I tell you what it is. It's for ballots. Jump
So,
sale.
yeah.
That's why the lock.
Yeah.
Okay, this would have been the master bedroom, and this would be Jessie May's bedroom. And we're a work in progress over here. We are trying to strip off all this wallpaper on the same chimney. Jessie May, when this is all back in place the way it should be, Jessie May is pretty active in here. Sometimes she will kick a ball out from under her bed. I heard her talk to her teddy bear. I think he's in another room right now. She asked him to tell her a story. Sometimes we will come in here and the doors to this dollhouse will be open and we'll close them, and maybe whenever, the next time, somebody looks and they're open. The one in the living room, that is open right now. Not much, but it's open. These two dolls over here in this bed, this cradle, they're porcelain and they're about 150 years old. Before I came here, one of the docents picked up one and she's showing it up, letting you get nice and personal with it, you know. And she put it back on the bed, not in the cradle. And the next morning, the cradle was dismantled. We have a new docent, well, she was, and she was doing a tour, and she'd come down after her tour, and she said to me, I took pictures and I want to show you. I said, okay. So she showed me the picture of these two dolls. But the doll on the right-hand side, they're always looking this way. The doll on the right-hand side, in her picture, was looking that way. And she said, I didn't touch them. The next time I came up, they were looking the way they should be. The paranormal group comes here pretty often, and she's pretty active with him. He'll put a light out there on a ridge and she'll knock it off. They're active. I was doing a tour last Tuesday in the parlor by the fireplace where she shows you Jessie May's death picture. And it was a group of girls from a group home. And I had talked about the people in the pictures, and I turned my back to the pictures and I'm talking to the girls, and the girl standing in front of me, she said, oh my God. And I went, oh, what's the matter? She said, turn around and look at that picture. The picture of the lady and her husband with all the boys to Lula Hope. It was swinging like a pendulum. I have never seen that picture move, ever. It was kind of strange. And the odd part of it is, and I'm not being racist, black people have an abnormal fear of ghosts. And some of them girls wanted to leave because they were like 9 out of 10 of them were black.
Do you
All right.
have,
Huh?
the,
Soap.
okay.
It looks like a soap dish when you take the lid off. This, I'm gonna guess, toothbrushes maybe, or combs.
Alright.
Something like Rubik's Cube almost. We've got to, slide them around and get them in order. Any questions? These are little boys wore dresses till they were about 3. Made it easier to potty train you guys. Except the Seminoles, they're still here. And they have never, to this day, signed a peace treaty with the United States. Consequently, they're very smart. They get a nice check every month, every man, woman, and child from our government. And know that. And then the Coney Island hot dog, which stand, which. Okay, well, a few years ago, maybe 2 years ago now, he was in Brookesville. He's from Florida. And I think, if I remember right, his name is actually Daniel Webster. And he's from over around the other side of this him. So I thought, okay, I'll watch it. Well, he also went to the mermaids. And I lucked out and got this show. They made him fins, and he actually swam with the mermaids. Yeah. This is what she called the Widow's Walk. Widow's Walk is usually when you're near the water, so the wife can go up and see if her husband's ship is on the horizon and returning. We are right here, approximately 19 miles from the Gulf. I don't think we would have seen it. I have read a little bit on it, and in this area that would be called an Indian Walk. You would go up there and look to see if there was any Indians about to make a raid on your house. So it's a toss-up as to what you want to call it. Okay, let's go in here. A spirit. His name is Gary, which I'll explain that in a little bit. This is his bed. When the paranormal group are here, they have had communication with him, and he is affiliated with the trunk, not with the house. Sometimes you can get an artifact, and if it's got a spirit attached to it, it will come with the artifact. The lady downstairs that did your tour, we are told when we leave here, tell the spirits, you stay here, I'm going home. She didn't. She was down the road and she'd come to a stop sign or a traffic light on which she looked in her rear view mirror and they were in the back seat. And she said, go back. And they were gone. We had a sleepover here about a month ago for us docents that would spend the night. He has been called Mr. Nasty. First of all, he told us his name was Gary. Then he told, he said, we named him Mr. Nasty because the docent moved his rocking chair. Lord knows nobody knows why she moved it, but she did. And he very clearly said, put my damn chair back. So we nicknamed him Mr. Nasty. So at the sleepover, he very politely informed us that his real name is Charles. Don't know. This couch, Christmas that we were going to put away. And I'm talking to the kids, and I got a boy standing here. And in the middle of my little talk to him, one of the boxes went flying. Yeah, I'm sure he's still talking about it today. If you wander over in there, it's just plain storage. Some women have gone over there and they stop and they look kind of funny. And I'll ask them, are you all right? And they'll tell me no. And I'll say, well, what are you feeling? And energy just being drained. The shake shingles are original to the house. Of course, we've re-roofed it numerous times. It now has a tin roof. And I'm amazed that when I was talking to you about the Indians that I actually got the words out, peace treaty. Because for the last 2 times I've tried to say it, I cannot say it. I don't know why. I don't know if we now have an Indian spirit or not, but I just could not get it out. It would come out all backwards. Don't know. Like Ronnie said, we've all experienced something working here. Some of us numerous things. So far. nothing, you know, hurtful. They're all pretty nice. Supposedly we have about 23. We have a cat even. That is actually, they felt it, you know how they walk between your legs? They've actually felt it. I was bringing a tour up and the gentleman that was behind me said, I smell a cat. So yeah, we do have a cat. Any questions about anything? So you don't want to walk over there? And about halfway through the night, he came downstairs. Now, we don't know if he was telling us the truth or not, but he said it was too hot up there. We don't know, was it too hot or was it something else? Oh Lord, even the air is coming out kind of warm. Gotta get close to
Are you already? Oh, okay.
Yeah, playing with the ball.
But the thing is, I took a level to see because I thought, well, I know the house slants this way, but maybe that room slants that way with the level, so that ball is rolling uphill. So that's pretty neat.
So it's her.
That's
Yeah.
gonna be interesting when you get.
Spirits. Have you seen that show?
I haven't, but
Amy and
I've heard.
Adam, I think their names are, Amy and Adam.
So that video is a little bit different than most of the videos that we've done. This is the day tour, so they have a day tour that kind of balances between the historical sides of things as well as the paranormal sides of things. And in the evenings and the weekends they do a ghost tour. You can even set it up on Saturday nights, I believe it is, from 10 p.m. till 2 a.m. You can do your own investigations of this house. I didn't have the opportunity to come here for the evening one. I would like to in the future and try to record that and take you guys along with that investigation as well. This one's kind of a nice blend between historical, normal, and paranormal. Sorry for all the noise. There is a very busy street right in front of this house. As always, continue to look for the history and film. Make sure that you like, subscribe, rate. Let me know what you want to see next. Let me know if you saw anything in this video. Have a good one, everyone.